Let's talk about functions defined via lookup tables. This is an idea that people are having trouble with, but I want to promise you this is not a difficult idea. You can define a table, and as long as that table has a clear input and output, that defines a function, as long as there's only one value for each input. So here I have a function that has three possible inputs, 1, 2, and 17. And if I wanted to know what a of 1 was, I just look at the corresponding output column and look it up. So the input is 1 and the output is 3 in this function. So a of 1 is equal to 3. A of 2 is equal to 4. And a of 17 is equal to pi. And all I'm doing is looking at the number that is here in the input column, and I'm finding the corresponding entry in the output column. If you asked what a of 3 is, the answer would be undefined. This function does not know what to do with 3. And the reason is that 3 is not anywhere in this input column. It's true that it appears in the output column, but to evaluate a of 3, we would need a 3 that appears in this input column. If you ask me what a of 4 is, again, the answer would be undefined. If you ask me what a of 5 or a of 10 or a of any number that isn't in the input column would be, it's undefined. The only things that you're allowed to evaluate on are things that appear in the input column. And the way you evaluate is you look across the row at the output column to see what the answer is. So you cannot use this function that I've given you, but if you're asked to create a function that doesn't have a formula, anything will work. Just create a table that has entries like this and where there are no duplicate inputs. We could look at the set of books on Amazon and we could define different functions based on the set of functions on Amazon. So one possible function would take a book and spit out the page number, or a book and it might spit out the ISBN. It might spit out the author's last name or the first author's last name. There are lots of things that you could do that would say, okay, here is a book. What is the answer? All right, so what's the ISBN number of this book? That's a function that takes a book's title and tells you the ISBN number. The way that this is implemented is with a table. It's a very large table. It has far more than 3 entries, and it's stored on a database somewhere instead of written on paper. But still, when Amazon wants to look up what the ISBN number of a book is, it's just looking it up in a record that it has that associates to each book's title an ISBN number. I hope this clarifies it a bit. It really is not intended to be a very difficult concept. I think what makes it difficult is that it's so different than what you might have seen before. And you might have a jarring sensation if you were used to linear functions and polynomials, and your preconception is that's what math is. But in modern cryptography, we use the lookup table method at least as much as we use the formula method. So